without security, every other conversation or plan, I guess, would not hold. It's security first. That's why we're heading to that space now with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, joining us. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us, General, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Great. I guess a good place would be, it's been an eventful 2024, but let's get your perspective, how it's been keeping the nation safe and some of those new challenges that the nation had to face this year.
Yeah, it's been a great challenge, but the good thing is that we are living up to expectation. We're getting the right support now, especially from Nigerians, from the government, and everybody is coming on board to understand that security is everybody's responsibility.
Now, when you say you're getting the right support from government, we could understand it's funding from Nigerians. We know it's supposed to be information, and that has always been a gap that has brought a lot of challenges and weakness in the system. Has that improved, the connection and sharing of information from Nigerians?
Yes, it has improved. Sometimes some of these areas don't have network. So even when they have information to pass, to get across to us takes a little while. So when the information actually gets onto us, it might be a bit late because you are dealing with criminals that are highly mobile. So 1 minute they're here, the next moment they've moved. So if there's any delay in information, it takes time, and they've actually moved around.
But General,
it's getting better.
We've heard of situations where the villagers said they've reached out to the security agency and they got the information through, but they did not get the response until after the harm has been done.
They reach out when? That's always a problem. When did they reach out to the security forces? And most times, because we do not have, most of our roads are not really that's so good. The greatest threat we're having is IEDs. So even when the troops are reacting, they have to be very careful not to step on any of the IEDs. So sometimes you find that there could be some little delays because of their response time, because they have to be very careful.
So would you say we have enough trust between the agents, the security agency, and the communities and the people?
I think it's getting a lot better. It's getting a lot better.
All right, and
we observe that the more we talk, the more we communicate with the locals, things are getting better.
Yeah, I like that you said that, General, because even talking to the media, we know that seems to be changing. But, sometimes getting information from the security agency seems difficult. Perhaps there's a code, that stops you from really opening.
Maybe in the past. I think we're being very proactive now. We communicate more with the media quite very easily. We have media chats weekly. Our doors are open. Whenever something happens, they get across to us, and then we respond as quickly as possible.
General, we spoke with the governor of Bauchi State not too long ago, and one of the issues we put to him is still in this space of insecurity and the efforts. We recall that there was a point where some national leaders, including governors, said that, look, sometimes we know the people who are fomenting trouble. We know the bandits, we know the kidnappers, and that some of them were governors. And he said, look, even security agencies, sometimes they know the people, the places where these things are happening, and yet the situation still persists. And he proposed stronger political will. First of all, to his comments that security agencies are aware sometimes of where these criminals are, but then the insecurity persists. How do you respond to that?
I'm happy that you said there is a lot of political will. The military can just do so much. Most times by law, because we are actually a law-abiding organization, we don't just hear speculation and just go and arrest anybody. Once we do that, the courts again will start complaining. Everybody will start saying that the military is high-handed. So we are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. We have to make sure that what we are doing is right there. We're getting the right information so that we make sure that we're professional in our conduct. But I can guarantee you that anytime we have any credible information, we follow it up. And once, I can tell you on a daily basis, we conduct arrests on a daily basis.
Can you confirm, General, that the situation we had in the past where officers, security agencies, let me just put it generally, sometimes some of them, maybe even from your end, go with some people to meet bandits, have conversations with them? Can you confirm that happened before? Are those days over?
Well, we recruit from the public. So there will always be the good, the bad, and the ugly in every situation. So we cannot say we're 100%. But one good thing we do is that we also, as we work, we're also looking inward. And once we get them, we do not spare them, not at all. And we have always encouraged the public, once you get such kind of people, report to us, we'll take action. We constantly get to look at and make sure that we arrest anybody that is found doing that.
Well, the job you have is clearly not easy. And from some of the things that you have said, you are outlining certain challenges that you have had to confront in the year 2024. Can you itemize some others that Nigerians need to empathize with?
Well, like I said, we're professionals, and we know some of these challenges are evolving. Because asymmetric warfare is unlike conventional warfare, where you know who the enemy is. Now the enemy is within, the enemy could be family, could be friend, could be, so it makes it more difficult. And the laws makes it very difficult for us to also operate. You must be certain, you must be sure what you are doing. And so those are detailed things that we could do. Conventional warfare, you could cap a bomb the whole community and then nothing happens. But now you can't do that. And the only way you arrest somebody is when you see him carrying arms. Now, without him carrying arms, he's just a normal civilian. Except if you have any information as to his activities, which you can verify.
Well,
it makes it extremely difficult.
Yeah, we've actually had an interview with someone, I think it was based in Kaduna at the time, said that, look, in their markets, they see bandits carrying guns to go price tomatoes and all those things. I hope that those days are gone. But, to the issue that you have raised about, the challenges that you have, the laws that limit you, can you speak to us a little more about that? And particularly, one of the major issues of the previous administration, and which the current president has also spoken about, is that of collaboration among security agencies. We've had and seen situations, including videos, where security agencies from different sides of the divide quarrel in public, and Nigerians see them, and they are, of course, sometimes they are really, really baffled. So can you speak to us about the area of collaboration? What exactly is supposed to happen? What are the things that happen? There are those who say that, look, in a situation where in a democracy such as we have, civilian rules such as we have, it's supposed to be the police leading the internal security, but then it will seem like the military is so frontal, and unfortunately, it's just something you have to do. Talk to us about this collaboration thing.
Okay. I can guarantee you that the collaboration is the best we've ever had. We work in synergy with all security agencies, from the National Security Advisor's Office to the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Interior. All the security agencies are working. We meet regularly. We discuss. In the nature of work, yes, there could be times there could be conflict, but they are being addressed quickly. Areas we think we can address those issues is intensifying in our training. So we collaborate a lot in what we're doing, and you can see that unlike how it used to be in the past, now it's a lot better. We'll continue to improve on it.
All right, General. We would really appreciate if you could give us updates on issues around villages that have been overtaken by terrorists. You know, we do celebrate some successes, but sometimes we just hear stories of some other village or community has been taken over, and because they are, especially in, you know, the far off states, Borno to be precise, it doesn't come here. How, do we have any of our areas, space, communities being controlled?
We do not have any of our localities that is overtaken by anybody. Maybe we could have ungoverned spaces, which is natural in every country. The terrorists, because they are normally civilians, and so they are easily mixed up around. I give you an example like the Lakurawas in the northwest. The Lakurawas were invited by the communities. They've been there for since 2018. In fact, so to some extent, the communities were even protecting them until when between them, I think whatever friendship, whatever agreement they had within them went bad. And then the Lakurawa started showing their true colors by attacking those communities. And that's the only time they started shouting. So that's why I say asymmetric warfare is a kind of operation that shouldn't start. No country should allow it to start with them because it's a very difficult thing to eradicate. In the Northwest, you are dealing with people that have ideology. Ideology is in the mind. It's not something you see on the forehead. So those are things you need to fight. There are those that are sponsoring them. There are those that are supporting them. We have the logisticians giving them information. They are just ordinary civilians. You think they don't know what they're doing, but they are giving them the taxi support for them to go. But I can tell you there is no community, there is no local government that is being held. Yes, we can have ungoverned spaces, which is okay, because we have forests, we have other areas. In the Northeast, we have the Lake Chad general area. Most of these terrorists are within those ungoverned areas, not within our own communities. We're sure of that.
But do we still have there used to be the civilian task force, kind of where villages come together and they have some groups. Do we still have that active? Are they working with the military or any security agency?
Yes. Naturally, because by nature we cannot be everywhere. So we try to encourage communities to raise able-bodied, well-mannered youths that will be able to assist us in ensuring that they give us adequate information, be able to identify all those areas where they hide their weapons and do all this. So we work to them as much as well. It has worked extremely very well in the Northeast especially.
What about the rehabilitation of terrorists, Boko Haram or not? What's the status of that? We seem not to be hearing a lot from that angle lately.
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. We have the Operation Safe Corridor that's at Gombe. That's why we get them after the states have been able to de-radicalize them, rehabilitate them. Then we take them to Operation Safe Corridor. The thing we should understand is that now we have over 120,000 that have surrendered, especially in the Northeast. Some people say, why did we take them in? We should just probably tie them up and shoot them. I mean, just imagine shooting all of them. Now, what we found out during investigation is not all of them are actually partakers in those things. Some of them were forced. Some of them were conscripted against their will. So we had to identify who is who. Now, the main actors are being kept around, and those ones will face the law. It's just a natural DDR program all over the world.
So what about some of them that become sympathizers with them? Even the women, I hear sometimes when there's an attempt to separate them from the terrorists, they refuse. What about those group of individuals?
Yeah, well, I think that was a psychological effect. After they've stayed, probably due to fear and all this, sometimes they wouldn't want to. But after a while, after they've been de-radicalized and talked to, we get them out of those areas.
All right, let's go to leaving the North now, the issue of IPOB, the sit-at-home order. What's the status there, sir?
I think it's a lot better. I was discussing with some people from the Southeast, and they told me the sit-at-home is getting wearing down, is wearing off, because initially some people were just using that for their own selfish interests. So now it's getting better. We'll continue to work, and we're conducting clearance operations all through.
Well,
we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that question will probably also lead us to asking what level of collaboration you're having with governors, particularly governors of the Southeast, in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, we're discussing with them individually and collectively. I'm sure the first quarter we're going to have a general meeting with them because it's important for us to work together. I've said it, military solution is less than 30%. 70% has to do with good governance, fairness, justice, equity. So we cannot solve the whole entire problem on our own. We need the political leaders to also play their own role. And that is very critical to the success of the operations. We're working together with them, we discuss with them, we will continue to do more. 2024, you will see a lot of that.
Yeah, but discussing with them and collaboration, where is technology? We know that, fighting insecurity now is all about technology. We have data everywhere and all of that. How much of that has been grabbed into the system in fighting insecurity in the country?
Sorry, please, I didn't get that.
I was asking about the adoption of technology in this fight against insecurity. Yes,
very well. We've adopted technology. Now, technology is what's really giving us a lot of leverage. On a daily basis, we pick the informants, we pick the logisticians, we pick the commanders, and that's why generally the entire country, you see that things are getting better. We have gone further again to ensure that now we have direct discussion with the communities, which has helped a lot.
But the issue of kidnapping seems to be on the rise. From NBS recently, the amount that was used, 2.2 billion. It seems kidnapping is it now, unfortunately.
Well, I don't want to argue with NBS. That amount is mind-boggling. For the North that is poor to have spent over 2-point-something trillion, I think it's something that we should look at those figures. But how it is, kidnapping is bad. It has become a social menace all over the country. We've had reports of individuals kidnapping themselves, husbands kidnapping wives, wives kidnapping husbands, family members kidnapping each other. So it has become a general business. And that's why it's important that whole of society approach to addressing this.
General, I think you just led me to the relevance of the question that's been playing on my mind for a while. And that is one of the causes of insecurity from security agencies, including yours, and that which is poverty. How do you think we can address that politically? You've said it. The military intervention force will take maybe just about 20-30% of the work. The rest has to be social justice and all these other issues that you mentioned earlier. Proactively speaking, practically speaking, what needs to be done? Because it is as a result of poverty that these bandits, terrorists, and all of them are recruited. We have information about that, and it's something that a number of people have, interviewed some of these people, and they have spoken to them about. You probably have the same information. It is because of poverty.
Definitely, there has to be deliberate efforts.
Okay. So what are you
to address poverty, illiteracy, and that's not the job for the military.
In terms of practical approach, what would be your recommendation? You are the ones, and your men are also in the line of fire to take on this. So you can't. I don't think you can just stand aloof and say, "Look, let them do what they have to do," because your men's lives are always at risk. So, what are the things that you think needs to be done, and urgently too, particularly at the subnational levels, to ensure that the lives of your men are not in jeopardy for nothing?
Yeah, I'm very happy the federal government, the president has taken steps to ensure that we address poverty and hunger. I think if we are able to follow it through from the federal level to the state level to the local government level, I think we'll have better solution. No one individual can achieve this. It must be collaborative. So all hands must be on deck to ensure that we address these issues.
Okay. Well, just one of the still while we're still in the north, the name Bello Turji has come up a number of times, and I know he's just one of those kingpins that you have had. I mean, that your agency has been working on for a while. What's the update?
Yeah. The update is that since he knows we have been after him, he has been operating underground, and we are conducting shaping operations. What we have been doing of recent is we're picking everybody that is close to him. All those giving him support one way or the other, we have picked them, we have killed his commanders. It's just a matter of time.
General, what about Simon Ekpa?
I'm sure he's cooling off somewhere, and legal action is going to be taken accordingly. So I don't want to say much about that, but I'm happy that he has been arrested, and the federal government have actually forwarded most of the requirements to the Finnish government. So I'm sure the right thing will be done.
Okay, so we can say that at least some of these issues are being handled, but I'm also curious from the other angle, General, the welfare of officers. It does seem like they do not have the opportunity to speak. So sometimes we have to be the one, the media has to be the one to speak. I know some time ago I had traveled to the north, and I had met an officer who said he'd been posted and he's been there for over a year, and he was practically in tears. And they said their welfare package is actually nothing to write home about. So if we want these men to protect...
I'm not sure he's a member of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. Because our salaries are being paid, our allowances are being paid as of when due. I'm sure you can't remember the last time you had anybody complain about such things. Of recent, some increment have been made for the junior officers, and which is good. We are going to. The president has listened to us, and I'm sure they're going to do more because we think we deserve more. But I can assure you that we're getting what we need, and that we'll continue to do well.
And you're also getting the ammunition and all of the empowerment you need to do your work well.
Very well. Yes, we're doing that. And in fact, what we have done again with the signing of the DICON bill, DICON is now producing ammunitions. We're getting local companies that are also producing armor personnel carriers, MRAPs for us. What we want to do, what we have realized is that being in conflict for 16 years now, it is important that we start producing what we need. One of the reasons why this conflict has been prolonged is because we don't produce the equipment we need. You know, the country is facing so much on issues of economy, especially foreign exchange. So now when we produce, we use local currency in producing. We will get the required equipment that we're using, and then we'll project more. And that's why I see we're doing a lot better now.
All right, General, that's good news. But we'll stay more on that local production and especially small arms, the issue around small arms. That'll be after the break. So let's pay some bills, General, and then we'll come back to you. And we'd like to tell our viewers that Inside the Niger Delta program was supposed to air today at 9:20, but I'm sure you're enjoying our conversation. So please do bear with us. It will be aired on Thursday at 9:30, January the 2nd. So Inside the Niger Delta program will not be on today, but it's be on Thursday. Meanwhile, let's take a break. When we come back, we still have the CDS with us, and we'll continue with the conversation.
We're still having conversations with the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. He is the one right now on your screen. General, thank you again for staying with us on this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Part of the issues that bothers one, particularly in Nigeria, in recent time, I think it was in the third quarter, the military reported neutralizing 65 militia leaders and more than 1,900 fighters in the third quarter, indicating active engagement against armed groups. Now, there are those who have said that these things happen sometimes because of collusion within, leading to the question of intelligence gathering. It's baffling sometimes when we hear that there's been an attack, because what's the job of intelligence if You know, if it is active and if it is well done. So in terms of those collusions and in terms of intelligence gathering, where are the weak links? So that we don't just suddenly hear tomorrow that we didn't know that this was going to happen.
Well, one thing I want to say is that intelligence has improved. We're getting a lot of support from especially human intelligence, from the locals. I had said earlier that sometimes when they have this intelligence, because due to lack of network or means of conveying this information to us, it takes a little while. And because the terrorists, the bandits, the criminals are also highly mobile. So before the information gets, they've moved. Now, what you want to understand is that the Northwest is over 200,000 square kilometers. Maybe sometimes people don't really understand how large the area is. So it is not that easy that you are hearing something that is happening about about thousands of kilometers away, and then before you react, before you get there, things have happened. Like we mentioned earlier, we're leveraging a lot on technology. Remember, we don't produce this technology, we rely so much on them. If you have the drones, you have to rely on the satellite. This costs a lot of money. One medium missile, precision missile, is over $200,000. So once you fire one, $200,000 is gone. So imagine how much does it cost to buy a drone? How much does it cost to get an MRAP? So this thing costs a lot. So we're doing the best we can with what we have, hoping we're going to get more. But like I told you, the way out is when we start producing these equipment that we're doing. We're using a lot of trackers, we're using a lot of drone equipment. So a lot of things are happening now and things are getting better. I'm sure you know that from January to now, things have turned a lot. This December alone, the holiday period has been wonderful. The number of people that have actually come from abroad to come and spend their holidays in Nigeria has been remarkable. And that's to show you the confidence that people are having that things are getting better.
General,
everyone is working as a team.
Okay.
And so that is what's giving us help.
My apologies for butting in. General, the lines, this issue of intelligence gathering, I'd like you to expatiate on it a little further, particularly in the area of engaging the locals in the communities. And here is why.
Yeah.
We have, unfortunately, strained relationship as a country between Nigeria and Niger right now. And one of the things we understand from subject matter experts is that the people on the borderline between Nigeria and Niger speak the same language. They have the same cultures. So what's your strategy for protecting Nigeria against these strays, this insurgency that could just spring on us because of, one, that strained relationship between Nigeria and Niger, and two, these communal clashes that could just spring on us at any given time? And before we know what is happening, it will become a diplomatic issue.
We have certain individuals that are playing politics with the whole situation. They feel that if they show that there's insecurity within Nigeria and Niger, it will play to their own advantage, which is very, very sad. And I've also realized that a lot of Nigerians are also happy when they hear, and it is very sad. They tend to want to believe in when there's a fake or falsehood against Nigeria. Nobody should hate his country. It's only here that I see a lot of people say a lot of negative things about our country. We must learn to be positive about our country. Individuals protect their countries. Even when things are bad, you stand for your country. Now, what is happening with Niger? Nigeria does not have any issue with Niger, not at all. The issue they had was with ECOWAS. And it so happened that the president of Nigeria is the ECOWAS president. And so people took that as for their own selfish interest to try to make it look as if it's a Nigerian Niger. We don't have any problem with Niger. Nigeria we're far way ahead, moving forward. So issues and conflicts with Niger is not one issue. Now, what is happening in Niger is that the military leader there is there for about 2 years. For some reason, he tends to believe that if makes it look as if Nigerians are his enemy, he wants to rally his people around him. We don't have any issue with him. Remember, some months back, I visited Niger personally. I discussed with the Chief of Defense Staff. We all understand that we need to be together. We have a lot together that unites us than what divides us. And so that's what's important. And the mistake they are making is because they think they have issues with France, then we should have issue with France. Their enemy shouldn't be our own enemy. It doesn't work that way. When they were with France, we were still working with France. Now, because they're having issues with France, they think we should know. And like we said, the president has mandated us to ensure in Nigeria there will never be any foreign base in Nigeria. The armed forces of Nigeria has the capacity to scale Nigeria. We can only continue to train together, go on courses together, get ideas for them, buy equipment from them because they are the ones that produce them, but no military boots on Nigerian soil. That I can guarantee you.
All right, General, that's comforting. But, you know, the fears when we hear of issues around our neighbors is the issue with our borders. And I know it's no news to you. You would say, oh, Nigerian borders are really porous. Now that we have a new dawn from the picture you painted to us, do we have technology being mounted or adopted in protecting our borders so that we can have some sort of control? And then, you know, things like this would not be so much of a threat.
Yes, I think the border management system is improving. The Minister of Interior is doing a wonderful, a remarkable job with the immigration, with the customs, with the civil defense, and the intelligence network, the national intelligence agencies, the DSS, and everybody is working together. We're building on the management of the borders. Yes, we have a lot of porous borders, but I think recently Mr. President just launched the command center at the immigration center where we monitor most of the budgets. We still have some ungoverned areas. I'm sure you're aware also the airports now, we have the e-passage now where you can come in and you are identified so that we ensure that anybody coming to Nigeria is somebody that we know who he is, where is he, and the kind of person he is. It's work in progress, so we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, but because, I mean, talking about the land one, I think the land one is one that really gives us issues. For instance, you talk about those who do a lot of tricycles and all of that, and you see, they claim to be Nigerians, but when you get close to them, it doesn't seem like they're Nigerians, and these are risks to the country.
Yeah, that's why one of the things after reviewing the security situation that we try to improve on is that we need to have a comprehensive census. These countries have their own census, they know who their citizens are. But we need to have a comprehensive census that will make sure that we know every Nigerian in the world. So that wherever you are, when you come in, we know that Nigeria is coming in and this guy is not a Nigerian, who this guy is. You know, the Sahel region is getting a lot of challenges. And because we all look alike, we have all lived together, so it's easier for them to pretend as if they are Nigerians. A lot of the criminals that are behaving, they are pretending that they are Nigerians. When you look down during investigation, they are not Nigerians. But the name, because they are carrying Nigerian issues, Nigerian documents, and they pretend they are Nigerians, everybody believes they are Nigerians. My appeal is for Nigerians to understand that we are doing so much all over the world. Nigerians are doing great things all over the world. There are very, very few people that are giving us bad names. We must identify and bring them out. And then we must also project those who are doing good. So that people will know that Nigeria is a great country and we have great people. The few ones giving us bad names should be taken care of quickly.
And I think it gets even more difficult when we look at the clashes between the farmers and the cattle rearers, and there are some adjectives you would use, and then it causes rancor to some people in our part of the country, in our northern part of the country, and this has been a very sensitive.
That's why I'm happy. That's why I'm happy we have the Ministry of Livestock. From the comments we've had, the issue of addressing this, we have to have ranches. If we're able to have ranches, we'll limit the movement of these animals, and once we're able to achieve that, it will stop the clashes between farmers and the headers, because it's very important that we stop it.
General, as much as we are concerned about the welfare of your men, in your asked that question the other time, you have also publicly admitted that some personnel of the Nigerian Armed Forces have been involved in trafficking arms and illicit drugs. I mean, that was about a month or thereabout ago. Naturally, you would expect that kind of thing would raise concerns about internal discipline and the integrity of military operations sometimes.
Yeah, true. I agree. But like I said, we recruit from the public. And what we are seeing, I think what is getting there is the failure of family units. The family unit is falling apart, and so it's affecting every aspect of Nigeria. It's not only the military. But the good thing for the military is, as we're operating, we're also looking inward. We have standing court martials in all our divisions. All our operations have standing court martials. And we deal with it as quickly as possible. We do not hide. We do not take those things for granted at all. And they know it. So we continue to evolve new ideas on how to checkmate it, to ensure that it makes it difficult for anybody to get these things across.
One of the things that, has also been attributed to you, which, you've expressed a lot of frustration in. Maybe it's gladdening to hear that at least DICOM is now producing arms and ammunition, because at some point your displeasure was unequivocal about the fact that certain countries imposed restrictions on arms sales to Nigeria. Now with DICOM, maybe that will get better over time, but how much is DICOM capable of now, and how do we manage the need to import for now until DICOM can fully take it all up?
Yeah, not only DICOM. DICOM is producing, and then we're also open up, having investments from abroad. Now we're dealing with a lot of original equipment manufacturers. We're signing MOUs with them to come and produce in situ in Nigeria, in DICOM. We have local companies in Nigeria that are also producing armor personnel carriers, MRAPs, helmets, body armor, and all sorts. So it's improving by the day, and gradually we're getting there.
General, we have a few seconds to take a message or two, and when we return, we'll be able to take on some other issues with you, so please stay with us. In the meantime, another reminder that program Inside the Niger Delta that's supposed to start about 9 minutes ago will now air on Thursday, so do stay with us. In the meantime, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. 2024 in review on Channels Television. A couple of hours left before 2025. We've been speaking to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Thank you so much, General, for your patience and staying with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. So I'd like to ask, the issue of small arms proliferation in the country, with the rate of kidnapping going on, there's fears that could be a challenge for us, if not now, in the nearest future.
Yeah, anywhere in the world is a big challenge, and that's why it's important that we must all put hands on deck to ensure that we expose all those ones that are dealing with small arms and light weapons. The Office of the National Security Advisor are doing everything possible to ensure that we recover all those. Recover the small arms and light weapons. Border management is being increased so that we ensure that we don't allow them bring these things in. But again, I want to use this medium to call on Nigerians. There are people that are being used to ferry these things into their own country. And because they think they are making money, they don't care. But these weapons are being used to kidnap, are being used to kill. And that's why I say it's important that not the leadership alone, even the led, have a role to play. We must say no to criminality. The leaders cannot achieve anything if the followers are equally part of the issues. Yes, maybe in the past there have been issues with trust. But I think things seem to be moving towards the right direction because we are working together as a team. We must remain positive about our country. That's the only way we can achieve success. It is important, and the whole of society need to put hands on deck for us to succeed.
General, what about those locally produced ones? Because when the police, they were parading some suspects, you see some of those things are actually locally produced. Is there a way to also deal with it from that front?
Yes, I think they're identifying those locations because some Nigerians are gifted into producing such things. If allowed on their own, if not being used positively, they will be used negatively, and that's why it's important. So the Small Arms Commission is going around to ensure that they retrieve those things, and then they register all those local manufacturers. some of them could be converted. Before you know it, we'll be able to start producing our own kind of weapons. So it's not all negative, but it's important that we'll be able to harness their talents positively, because I think that's how other countries too started. So it is not just to catch them and then punish and push them on the ground, but to also bring them. We can take them into DICON, register them, and then be able to harness what they are doing and be able to produce. If we use them positively, it will be positive for the country.
But what would you say to individuals who have said that perhaps Nigerians should be allowed to also, for their protection, carry arms?
No, I think that would be disastrous. The important thing is that for Nigerians to take a responsibility that you see something wrong, report to the security agencies, and action will be taken. Sometimes it is when people keep quiet that you allow these guys to fester. There are states that refuse to allow them freedom of movement, and you see they left them there. But anywhere that they go in and the community receives them, then it becomes a problem. That's the challenge. I always give an example with the Lakurawas. They came in that they are the same religious sect, they are their friends, until they became enemies, and then they started attacking them, and that's when the cry came out. No community should allow any unauthorized person to come and stay with them. It is wrong. They are not Nigerians. They have no room to. They shouldn't stay anywhere in Nigeria. You can imagine that even Niger Republic is accusing them we're using Lakurawas against them. Meanwhile, we're here killing the Lakurawas. So those are the dynamics. So that's why it's dangerous. We should never allow any unauthorized person come into our community. If we see them, we should not hesitate to report so that action will be taken quickly.
General, that leads me, I mean, you talked about civilians, and it leads me to this issue of civilian casualties in military operations. I know it is something that is touching even for you, and I know you said at some point that there are investigations ongoing. So, of course, naturally, there's been debates about how come and all of that. How far with that investigation so far?
For Tudunbiri, we've forwarded our reports. It was a professional mistake. It was not deliberate. Some actions took place at that age, and then the reaction was there. For this recent one that happened in Sokoto, investigation is ongoing, but I can tell you for free that we followed thoroughly. We found out we were following up with the terrorists. We knew where they entered. We followed that definitely, and like we said, possibility of secondary explosion could have happened. Why were individuals there at that time? Those are the questions we tend to ask. And that's why we appeal to Nigerians. Please have nothing to do with them. Don't stay with them. Avoid their locations. Don't support them. Don't provide anything for them. So that when actions are being taken, so that you don't become part of it. Because if you are supporting them in one way or the other, you become a legitimate target during our own operations. So that's why it's very, very important. We always feel very bad when innocent civilians are killed, and we do everything possible to avoid it. But I'm sure if you're aware that world over, during wars, such mistakes happen, but they will never be deliberate. We will never harm our own citizens.
Earlier on, you talked about the need for politics to play the role it ought to play, so that military interventions can play the role it ought to play in these kinds of operations that we're talking about. And we have heard quite a number of prominent Nigerians, politically exposed Nigerians, if you like, say that sometimes it's political figures that are responsible for some of the insecurity we have. I know you may or may not want to admit that intelligence has shown that sometimes these are the issues. So, what then do the Nigerians do? Unfortunately, the cannon foders are the people who are the civilians that we're talking about, and some of your personnel. Where do we go from here, from what you know?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, now.
Okay. I said that sometimes, you said earlier that politics should do politics so that military will do military. But then we've also had information from time to time that sometimes politically exposed people are the ones responsible for some of the insecurity that your personnel have to come up and contend with. So we, unfortunately, have to deal with civilian casualties, whether from your people or from whoever else, and then your own men have to also, unfortunately, suffer some attacks from time to time. So where do we go from here, from what you know?
From what I know, like I said, it's important that it's all of society approach. Every Nigerian should take this as a challenge, that we must stop this menace from going on. Going forward, 2025, it's very important that we do things differently. We collaborate more with members of the armed forces. We are making a profit. We have made a solid profit that 2025, we're going to put in all we have to ensure that we get more peace in Nigeria. On whether civilians or whether politicians are part of it, like I said, it's all of society challenge. It's all of society. It's not only the politicians. We have traditional rulers that are involved. We have gotten religious leaders part of it and all these things. But like I said, is that once we investigate, and if we find you guilty, you face the law.
General, just briefly, I'm just curious, what's your stance on state police?
State police, well, I think again is a political decision. For us, whatever decision the federal government takes is okay by us. I think that's very, very important. The idea is to enhance security within the general area. That's very good. But one thing I want to call upon is that we need this national census. If we're able to build up a comprehensive database, it will assist us a lot. If you go abroad, you commit an offense, it's 50-50 chance. The chances are very high that you'll be arrested. It's not witchcraft, it's because they have data. We need to build such data so that we'll be able to build up from there.
Well, leading to this question again, General, of civilian-military relations or military-civilian relations, well, it's arguable whether or not it has improved. And I expect you would probably say it has improved. But then people will still be afraid of any soldier. Yes, people will still be afraid of any soldier, whether he's carrying a gun or not. So is that collaboration? Is that communication?
Yeah, it's a mindset. It's a mindset, and perception takes time to change. Okay. Yeah, but I can bet you it's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay. Yeah. General, thank you so much.
It has taken years. Some people still some people still view us from the aspect of during military regime. Things that were done during military regime. But now it's a different ballgame. I think we've shown a sense of responsibility that we're a lot different. We are very friendly. We want to protect the integrity of Nigeria and Nigerians. We're not going to harm any innocent Nigerian, not at all. We're only after the bad guys.
Well, the bad guys better be wary. Thank you so much for your time this evening. General Musa, General Christopher Musa is the Chief of Defense Staff, and he's spoken to us about securing Nigeria successes and challenges. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best all the time.